you are a speaker and you are already doing six figures or you're just starting out, this episode will completely change your life. And I'm not even exaggerating. I just had an amazing conversation one-on-one with Josh Stinton, very popular speaker in Europe, and he's sharing all his secrets. How to get more international bookings. We all want that. How do you succeed in a country where your language is English and it's not the native language? And how to prepare like a pro before a conference. And I'm already implementing a lot of his advices. For example, how to do 3 meetings instead of 1 when you get a gig. This episode is just jammed with valuable, awesome advice. So let's dive into it and get to know Josh a bit better.
Go for it. Go for it. Like if you're listening to this, the chances are someone along your journey has said you'd be a great speaker, or you should be, and I hope that that's why you found Max and Max's work. Speaking of you in third person, but I'm looking at you, Max. It's really weird. Also, or maybe you feel like that it could be an interesting career change. Whatever your extrinsic or intrinsic motivation is for listening to this, it's gonna boil down to something, and that something is giving yourself permission to do the thing. Do the thing, right? Be a speaker. The world needs more stories. The world needs more people that are mission focused and willing to give from their experience. The world needs you. This is not an opportunity, right? This is a responsibility. Do the thing.
So, hey Josh, woo, we're doing it finally.
Oh my gosh, we are doing it. And Matt,
doing it.
It's not lost on me. You're sitting in Spain right now.
Yeah, and you are now in Oslo.
Look at my fireplace in my living room. You don't have that in Spain, do you?
No, we have the sun. So, man, we've been friends for a while. And you're one of my most crazy friends. Like, I call you and ask how was the weekend. When people say, I played golf or paddle, your reply can be, oh, dude, I bicycled across the Atlantic Ocean. And I'm not surprised by anything anymore now. So yeah, it was so
supervision. What you're trying to say, Max, and it comes from a place of care, my friend. I need supervision. You're absolutely right.
Well, what's like your top 3 crazy things you've done? Like bicycle across the Atlantic Ocean. Like what would you call like your top 3 crazy things?
That was wild. That was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
So people to kind of help visualize that quickly, because that's not the purpose of this call. So I'm not going to go into me on my adventures too much, but in 2018, I gave a talk. So this is the power of keynotes. This is actually on topic. So I gave a talk for an adventure group in Mexico, right? So pro tip, if you ever get an opportunity to give a talk in Mexico, just do it, obviously. I gave this talk in Mexico. Afterwards, there might have been some tequila involved. There might have been. I'm not sure. But these guys there's 3 guys from the audience were they were chartering a yacht, and they were going to sail it from Gran Canaria, Spain to St. Lucia in the Caribbean. And they asked if I wanted to join them, which I said, obviously, yes. And then I said, I have no idea how to sail. One thing I've always wanted to do is strap a bike onto a sailboat and pedal across the ocean while people that know how to sail actually do the sailing. And I'm racing the boat that I'm on. So that's basically, so the bike was like on a gimbal. It was a custom built gimbal by these engineers in Leamington, England. And then I got a recumbent bicycle because I got on eBay. I'm bad at eBay. So I clicked buy to see the buying instructions. I accidentally paid £1,000 sterling for a bike I wasn't even wanting. And then that was the bike that I took over the ocean. So that was one thing. Well, other things, I could represent Australia in the the world's biggest mountain unicycle race. Took a unicycle down a mountain.
Okay.
In San Sebastian, Spain. And then one of the last things was I'm proudly the world's the team captain for the world championship team for Australia for hide and go seek world championships.
Okay, wow, that's some CV, man. I know, but like Mexico is always adventurous. Like, a quick story. Like, I got invited to speak to him when I was 19 after my TEDx, and I thought like probably something like shady or scam, But I was like, okay, sure. Like 5 months later, I receive a PDF on email, just a PDF, and it's like scanned tickets on a scanner, like blurry tickets, and I just go, and I checked on LinkedIn who was supposed to pick me up, and they said like you're gonna have bodyguards, it's safe. And I was like, first, cool. And then like, do I need bodyguards? Where am I going? I come to the airport and there's a completely different guy holding a sign, Max Kushan, and I follow him. He has his beard. We go into this brand new BMW with tinted windows.
What?
And I'm like, okay. And this was supposed to be UNESCO. And I'm like, oh, wow. And I get to the car, the locked doors. And I actually texted my mom like, hey, I love you. I was like, this is maybe it. But yeah, it was really fun experience. That guy turned out to be Tulio, a really good friend of mine now. And yeah, if you get the chance to speak in Mexico, you should do it. Yeah. So John, that's the whole episode. Go to Mexico, speak. Yeah. Okay. So a few questions. How long have you been doing paid speaking gigs?
14 years now.
14 years. What's your average fee today in 2025, let's say?
So it's different in Europe. So obviously, as said, I live in Oslo. Europe. So Europe, 6,000 euros. So 6,000 euros, yeah. Expenses. And of course, then people, you can do like that. That's for a keynote, right?
Yeah.
And it's a good friend of mine. His name's Henry. He's an amazing keynote speaker out of London. And Henry says, when pricing for work, never let people say just. It's like, well, if it's just an hour for 6,000, are you sure? It's like, like plumbers train for years and years to learn which screw to turn, and it only takes them 5 minutes to turn the right screw, right? So it's like you're not paying for just that point. You're paying for that woman or man's journey and story to that point. So never ever undervalue yourself. If you feel like you're not pricing high enough, you're not. Like, get out there, and because people will see it, like never it's super important, because also there's another way that I look at this, and that is we're all taking care of this craft of storytelling, right?
Yeah.
So when I'm pitching for a gig, I'm thinking like, I'm doing this on behalf of my buddy Max. I'm doing this on behalf of my instructors. I'm doing it on this behalf of the women, role models that I've had in my life, and the men role models, like the people that have helped get me to this point. And I'm not going to go in and say, well, what's your budget? Because I'll go ahead and work within that. It's like, no, it's like, this is the right.
This is it. Yeah.
Because I want to bring value to your thing. Okay, my coffee kicked in. I'm on a run here.
Yeah, man, same here. I'm cup number 7.
Yeah.
So,
you have to hold.
It's fine. I love this.
Yeah, so you have to hold a red sign, tell me to shut up at any time. But
this is super valuable, super amazing. And as you say, it's like not just like your lifetime experiences, but like it takes a lot of time to create a killer keynote with the right storytelling. And then we always have to practice it, maintain it, and we're always improving. So yeah, you're not paying like 6K for 1 hour or for 20 minutes with Josh. You're paying for a lot of years and the ability to the story. And how many gigs do you get a year now? What are you saying?
I'd say probably 40 to 50, kind of depending on. But yeah. Happy with that. And now, to be absolutely fair, fully honest, not all of those are paid, right? So here's the trick. I think there's a balance here where there are some environments, like I just gave a talk in Portugal at an event called reInvent. That was an awesome experience. That event was put on by a media agency that's not really, they're not meant to be event producers, but they do a thing every year, but their thing is like media.
Yeah.
So it's an event for event organizers. So they had like 700 people in the room. These women and men were from all different types of businesses across Portugal, right? And I was in there as a keynote speaker. They covered the expenses. I kind of do say that as a minimum, but they covered the expenses. But that was in my mind, sometimes there's a marketing expense, right?
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. So for me to be able to get in front of all of these different people doing amazing business across Portugal, do I want to go back to Portugal? Yes.
Yeah.
So, and I already have ongoing business from that one talk that I did 3.5 weeks ago.
Crazy.
It's a balance. So don't beat yourself up if, to folks that might be listening or are listening, don't beat yourself up if there are some things that come up and you're like, that would actually be really good exposure. But they said never, go under. Where I draw the line, if it's a community-based thing, if it's a media-based thing where there's a lot of different businesses coming, I will happily get involved in that because it's great marketing. I meet a lot of people, and the other thing is I get to meet a lot of other speakers
backstage, which is amazing. Yeah.
Speakers. And so you're learning things, but also I keep my eyes and ears out for people that are up and coming. Right. So for example, I got asked, this was just yesterday, I got asked to do a talk in Croatia. And on that date that they pitched for, I wasn't able to do it. So I went back and said, not only I can't do it, but can I please recommend someone for you if you're looking for like what you're looking for? And they came back, they're like, this is our brief for that speaker. And I was able to connect them with the person that's going to nail that talk, right?
If you like this episode, drop a like and subscribe. It helps my team to produce more awesome free content by speakers for speakers in order to get better gigs and be better on stage. It will really mean a lot to us. Awesome. And you got me a gig too. I'm super grateful for that, by the way. Thanks, man. That was really cool.
My absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
But this is how it works. You know, it's just really nice to get forward. And
so for those who listen now, like, okay, they met Josh, you do like you hide and seek and bicycle across Atlantic. But if you do like an elevator, not pitch, but line, like, what is the biggest takeaway your audience is with? Like, what value and challenge do you solve for businesses? Because I always say that like businesses, conference, book speakers to solve a challenge or problem. And then the 6K is cheap because they solve something big. So what is your audience and who is your audience and what are they left with of like value after your talk?
Great questions, bro. So the audiences are varied. So usually they're corporate audience. My audiences are usually organizations that are either going through change. So something's coming down that like a new regulation, or it could be like a merger and acquisition or a change in the market. So a company that's going through change, or an organization that needs to take on a massive goal or has been given a huge goal. So for what I talk about is motivational psychology. That's what I get booked for. So I work with motivational psychology and collaboration design. And that's actually my background. So my background, I was the manager of the innovation team at KPMG in Australia. And before that, I worked for PwC. And then after that, I worked for PwC Germany. So I've got a lot of business modeling experience. And I take that modeling and I apply it to wild adventures out in the world, or from experience I had with working with NASA or the Winter Olympics, for example. I'm very proud I've been able to work on really big build projects. Like, don't let the fact that I'm a 44-year-old man with his hat backwards on fool you. I have done some interesting things professionally as well. Just some things. And so I bring that experience in. So I just take these red threads out. So back to these adventures you mentioned, the key component to all that, I take on these adventures to support children's charities. I don't earn any money from the adventures. I never will. I never want to. But all the money that gets raised from doing these crazy challenges goes to helping kids in the world that might be in a circumstance where they can't help themselves or their families can't help them right now. So I'm trying to help as many kids create better future than they currently have in front of them right now. I've learned mindset and resilience from kids in need more than I've heard from professionals in any industry in the world. More. Wow. Right?
Insane.
So I'm so proud that I have all these stories, and they're heartfelt and they're quite emotional, and they're good stories, and it's just so freaking human. You know, sometimes organizations are so focused on being smart that we forget to be human. And my stories are not just a reminder, but a nudge to do that, because companies are full of people, right? And people are affecting everybody else around them. And if we're not there to help them become better people, not just do the technical thing in their job, we're missing the trick.
Yeah.
I just went on a total tangent just then. That was a total rant. That's what I did.
It's okay. But can you share the audience where you're from? Like, which city?
Originally born in Denver, Colorado, out in the mountains. So high altitude birth probably has something to do with my mental capacity. And then raised up in Colorado Springs, and lived in Washington State in the US for quite a while, so outside of Seattle. And then I moved to Australia in 2025, where I went to university. I was there to party. And
2025, that can be 2025 is this year.
No, 2025. Oh yeah, no,
2005. Yeah, 2005.
I was trying to skip over the fact that it was 20 years ago, Max. My God, that's happened.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Time flies when you're having Australian beers, as the old saying goes.
Yeah.
So 2005. You're absolutely right. And so I did my bachelor's and master's there, and then moved to Norway 9.5 years ago.
9.5 years ago. Yeah.
So Norway's home for me for good now. So
your Norwegian is good. I heard it. It's good. But I got just you're American and who built a speaking career across Europe, Asia, Australia. You've been like all over. Yeah. What's one of the biggest challenges speaking internationally, and how did you overcome them?
That's a great question. This is actually something that I do get asked about often, because in Europe, we have many, many countries, many neighboring countries with deep-rooted knowledge in specific languages. And people, like, say, if you have a Norwegian speaker, or Swedish speaker, or Lithuanian, however, that they're doing fairly good in their own, in their own country, and well meaning either they're speaking to the right clients, they're making the right impact, or however that looks like. And then there's this limiting belief of, yeah, but I would like to go international. I hear this all the time. People reach out like, well, how do you go international?
Yeah. Same.
And this is, if there's nothing else that gets taken away from this conversation, I really hope that it's this, right? This is the thing. Never, ever, ever forget that you have a sole purpose of trying to make life easier for someone else.
Yeah.
And working backwards from that thing, remove country borders, remove language barriers, your job is to help make it easy. So there's a chain of easiness, right? Follow me on this. That's the first time I've ever seen.
Interesting.
Don't quote me.
Let's try.
Yeah, there's a chain of easiness. Your first job, make it easy for agents to learn about you, right? Make it easy.
Mm-hmm.
Call an agency, find out who their clients are, who it is that they're booking, what type of speakers they have, and let them know that you speak in that space and that you have something unique to bring to them because you want to help X company do X thing, right? By example, everybody along the chain of easy, coming back to the seat that you're sitting in, is trying to make it easy for someone else, right? So as soon as you get it into your head that your job is to make it as easy for everyone in that line, down to the person that's going to hear you with their ears in that audience, everyone's got a job to do to make it easier. And how easy you make it for them to make it for the next person is the more you're going to get booked. So example, when you're writing your talk, it's, don't feel bad if you hit this juncture. I certainly have, but it's not about you, right? Like sometimes we get super excited about the photo. We all want the photo of the stage with the packed audience and like the cool show and all this stuff. That's cool, right? And my mom says I'm a star. It's amazing. It's never about you, right? It's your job. If you have the ability, if you have the gift of being able to be on stage, and the greatest gift anyone can ever give you is the gift of their time, right? That's because that's the only thing we don't have an infinite resource. So, one of the only things we don't have an infinite resource. And so they're giving you the gift of their time. Your job is to make it as easy for them to do something better or eat faster or just in a nicer way after you've spoken. Okay, so that's job done on the stage. I have a lot of people, I mean, it happens now and then, right? That was the American in me. So many people. It does happen now and then. Actually, it does happen quite often, but people will ask like about my agency is not booking me, or my agency in Norway doesn't book me for talks, and there's always this kind of, and I'm not trying to pick on folks that say that because I've definitely been in that seat myself. Same. But whenever, not if, but when, because it does happen, when that happens, put yourself in a position like, what have you done for your agency lately to make it easy to book you, right? Because at the end of the day, we're there to ship information out of one brain and put it into another. That's it.
Yeah.
And how you're helping an agency understand how best to do that. Not going, I'm great.
Where's my gigs?
Where's my gigs? Super hot. I'm the coolest thing since freaking sliced cheese. I'm so good. And it's like, but what? How are you helping them solve what problem? So that was a long way home to say, dude, there's a lot of limiting beliefs. I think honestly, going international, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Like everyone's out there trying to solve problems. I love speaking in the Baltics. And there's an event that I speak at every single year called Login. They have about between 6,000 to 7,000 attendees a year.
It's the one you recommended me for, right? It's the Login. I'm going there. I see you there in May. Yeah, I think May. Yeah. May.
It's in May. Yep, at the end of May. So that one, like, I adore speaking at that. The people are so great. That's not a paid event. If they're paying you, Max, don't you tell me about it. But no,
I'm gonna say deal as you marketing exposure.
Well, but it's like going into that environment, provide value. If you're ever in doubt, try to find a way to give value. I go to that talk. I like to show up. And every year I recommend amazing people that I know, like you, Max.
Thank you.
Pleasure. The past 3 years I've spoken at the thing, I've recommended other people to go just because by some speakers will find a measure of success to say, oh yeah, well, I got paid $25,000 for it, so that was a success. I mean, that's one thing. But the other thing is, like, you get to stand on stage that other incredible women and men are standing on that day, and you're connecting with thousands of people.
Yeah.
The net result is because you have a thing to say that you're passionate about that needs to get out of your brain and into theirs, you're helping so many people that it does come around. And so for me, like, I love speaking in the Baltics. Off the back of that, contacted the Lithuanian Speaker Bureau, got onto their stuff. So I do talks with Lithuanian Speaker Bureau. I just got through them. I got booked for a talk in Latvia. So I'm working with people in Latvia. It's just, the path becomes quite clear when you are certain in yourself what problems you're solving and how you're trying to make life easier for someone out there, right? Pick an avatar. That's the person you're trying to help. And you don't have to fight too incredibly hard to find amazing events that are trying to help those people as well. Right. And I'm not trying to be flippant. I'm not trying to make this sound so easy. You have to show up. You have to care. But it's, I mean, if I'm doing it.
But about,
smartest
when you said like, when you said like you're doing a gig in Lithuania, Latvia? Lithuania. I always mix those.
Both.
Okay. Yeah. Both. So this is my next question. Is like, and I coach some speakers, and a lot of them are actually Americans in Europe, and I get the same thing every time. They're like, oh, so I live in France or I live in Germany. It's not everybody speaks English so good. What should I do? And they get nervous that is there even a market for us here? Like, can I do 10 gigs at 3K or something? Like, is it even possible? So what's the real opportunity? So I want to add to this question. So imagine like you just moved from the States to Germany. You're just starting a speaker career. So you don't have any like references or testimonials, and your main market is Germany. What would you do? Like, how would you move forward?
First thing I would do is get time on stages. Like, even if say, okay, in this scenario, I've just moved to Germany and I'm starting a speaker career from scratch. Or either way, even if I'm just moved to Germany and I left being the biggest rock and roll, like rock star speaker in the US, same story, right? I would get on meetup.com. I would go to Facebook. I would find out where events are taking place in your industry. Where are people showing up that might be interested in the thing that you have to say? I would find where those are at. Could be schools, could be universities, could be meetup.com, could be wherever your town halls are at. I would reach out to them and ask if I could please, like, just be honest. I'm new here. I'm looking to get more speaking. That's another thing. Don't try to hide behind this sexy professionalism. Ask for help. People want to help you. So find out, where are people gathering around this thing? Could be business, could be whatever it is.
Say sustainability, for example. Like, you're a sustainability speaker, for example.
Correct. Show up and just say, I'm looking to build my brand as a speaker here. I would love to give a 15-minute talk about this, and this. Your audience can expect to learn something about this. And as a result, I would just, if someone can take a couple pictures from the audience and maybe give me a testimonial, I would love that. Get your boots dirty doing that. Get them filthy, right? Get out there and do as much of that as you can. And you get to know people. And then after a bit, you'll catch a fee. You could start to charge, but build slow. Please, don't let the noise mess around with you of people saying, but in Europe, we should be charging 5,000-6,000 euros. And it's the same. No, like, always work backwards from the fact that you are fortunate enough to have either a tool or an insight or a story or a joke or whatever it is that will make someone's day better. Work backwards from the fact that you care about that. Money finds you.
Yeah. It's a great advice, man. I love it. Wow.
Yeah.
This is inspiring. And perhaps people are overthinking the English barrier a bit. Like, I spoke in Madrid, and in Spain, the English level is not high. And I got rebooked to Barcelona, and they did like the survey, one of the highest rated talks, and I did in English. Like, I know hola, and that's it. So it's like, I think like, it's in Europe, the English level is getting higher. And if English is your main language, or even not your main language, but you don't speak the local, don't overthink it. Like, corporate, they still book English speakers, I would say.
Totally.
Yeah.
Also, to that point, so let's just say this, in this scenario, there's Jane. Jane has just moved from the US. She's learning to speak, trying to get her feet under her as a presenter. And And another thing I would advise Jane or hope that Jane remains positive about is the fact that you have a native mother's tongue in English. Native mother's tongue, that was redundant, wasn't it? I've been doing English for a long time. So the fact that you have your native English speaker, there's so many events that are for multinational organizations all around Europe that are bringing Spanish, Dutch into a room. Guess what language they're going to speak at that event? It's not Finnish.
English.
Yeah. So the fact that you were a native English speaker for a number of years, I had the same mindset because I thought, oh, geez, I'm not super fluent in Norwegian, I'm not fluent at all in Norwegian. So I was like, oh, this is going to be really tricky. The fact that it's such a bonus because if you're seen as having you care about what you're talking about, you're working backwards from the fact that you're helping someone, you have a command of the English language as a natural language, even if it's it doesn't have to be your first language, but even if you're comfortable in it, because English isn't your first language and you're super confident in it, so you have the people that are like really, really confident and comfortable in that language, then you'll get booked for like people say, oh yeah, we saw him at that our company offsite, there's a TED talk or whatever the thing is, and you just keep building. And before you know it, you start hanging out with weirdos like you and I, Max, and we're recommending for
each other and growing. Yeah. So like, okay, let's talk business then, like getting booked, a real system. How do you actually get most of your gigs these days? Like, is it referrals, agencies inbound, or do you also run some outreach machine on your own? Like what's like roughly percentage, and how do you get most of your gigs today?
Referrals, baby. Referrals. That's the biggest, by far the biggest thing. Agencies second, but like a distant second. And all due respect, there's an agency I'm with here in Norway that I know you and I are part of, Max, that I have a lot of respect for. I think they do fantastic and they're super helpful for me. I'm with London Speaker Bureau, which is quite cool to say because it's a big bureau. I have never had a talk book from them, but it's nice to brag about it on LinkedIn. Yeah. That's not me picking on them. That's not me being frustrated. No. It just for whatever reason hasn't happened. That's okay because I'm busy with other stuff. But so I think people have this thing in their mind of go for agents, then agents have to work for you, and then their ego
doesn't work like that. Like like I had a Stefan Hittfors, the crazy storyteller from Sweden.
Stefan, so I love the guy.
Yeah, so good. Like wow, he told me advice. Like he also signed like an agent now in London, and he does all the dirty work himself first. He's looking for gigs. He's trying to get them signed. And then you go to an agent and be like, hey, I got this gig. Can you negotiate it for me? And you share the profit to start to build the relationship. And Neil's been also advising that, like, if you want to work with an agent, bring them business, show that you're in demand and that, this is a collaboration. Hey, this is, we're building this together, baby. Right. So,
absolutely. And to that point, there is a service and I don't have a horse in this race is a colloquial American expression.
Yeah.
This isn't like use Josh 2025, but do check this out. Speakerflow.com. I love these guys. So they're all about making the life of a speaker easier. It's a CRM service and all that. And I do have their CRM. That's not what I'm trying to say. They have that. Yes. But on their website, they have a tab called for resources and it's all free. And it's so good because every single year they're US based, but they get like an industry capture around like globally, but mainly US. But they do a state of the industry report for just speakers every year that's released every year. And it's so freaking good. Back to your point, Max, of like, what's the breakdown of the business? And you'll see people on there, like even, people that are pretty big earners, they're still like 12-15% from agency work. A lot of this comes from you. But as a point, I must say, if you get a gig from an agent and you do get a follow-up gig, tell that agent.
Take it back to them. Yeah. Take it back
always
to them.
Do that. Maintain your elegance because it will.
Loyalty is king. But if you reach out to a conference or a business, are you doing that sometimes or no?
Absolutely.
Like if you see a conference, yeah, absolutely. So what's like your best reply rate? So, okay, you see a conference in Hungary and you're like, oh, I think my talk is perfect here. What's your flow? Like, what's your flow to get and how does it work? Like from start to finish?
Flow is first thing I'll try to do is find a phone number. Like I try to go as old school on it as I can. I mean, hell, man,
it works.
If there were still fax machines, I'd send them a fax as well. Like I just do something to create like, oh my gosh, this person isn't just doing an automated email drip, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
try to get someone on the phone, find out on LinkedIn who I'm connected to through them, however, send a message, try to call, and just get in and say, I would like 10 minutes to introduce myself. And in that 10 minutes, I would also love to learn about your upcoming event to see if maybe I'm here to help you. So either I could be a good speaker for your event, or if it's not me that's a good speaker, I know a lot of awesome women and men that I can recommend. And maybe
I love that approach.
down the track, I could also be someone to help out with that. But when you're calling, because again, we all love people that show up into our lives to help us make things easy. I mean, more the merrier, right?
Yeah.
And when you're genuinely doing that, that's good things happen, and so it's not this sneaky, like, go in and offer, just be that person. I want to help this. I would love, yes. Okay. I mean, you're going to pay a speaker for that thing. I speak about that and so I might as well be the one you pay. But if it's not me, I want it to be her.
Yeah.
So call hungry, get over there. Another thing that I have done, and this depends on where you're at in your world and your finances, etc. But one thing I have done is I've, on my dime, because you could do that around Europe fairly cheaply, I've flown to a city to have an introductory meeting over a coffee just to show an agency how serious I am about doing business with them.
That's for agencies, but not for conferences. But for agencies, you've done that.
I've done that for agencies. Yep.
Wow.
And
okay.
I've also done that for corporates that have a team of people dedicated to internal events. I've done that also as well. That wasn't international. I flew to the West Coast here for a very large company. You would know them, Max, very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I flew over.
My mom works there.
Yeah. I flew over just to knock on their door. Didn't even have a meeting booked.
Wow. Crazy. Yeah. Hey, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here. Like, are you here? Like, do you live here? No, I'm flying back at 4. I just wanted to see if you're available for a chat. It's like, just do the different thing, but always, again, this is the take. Always work backwards from trying to make their day easier.
Any last tips on we started this conversation with, you have around 40 gigs a year. That's like 40 hours, say 40 hours on stage plus minus. What happens in the 1,900 hours when you're not on stage? Like, can you just give a peek of like a full-time public speaker, like especially on the business side? Like, do you spend time like producing content, LinkedIn? What's like your day-to-day when you're at work?
To be honest, I've become a little bit contrary about it. Like, I don't push out a lot of content. I go through waves of that. And sometimes I just annoy myself. So I just kind of take it a little bit. I try to only put things out that I think will give something. But then, of course, there is like, you did speak at that event and that photo was pretty damn cool. So you want to share the photo and say, I did the thing. Think about it this way as well. I've kind of calculated this out. For every hour keynote that you book, I think in my mind, that's 2 days. That's 2 days of time.
Yeah.
Easily.
Practicing, traveling.
Traveling. But also, here's the thing. If I book one talk in my initial email or however that works, and my phone call, however that works, I will say I need 3 briefing meetings for that. 3. Yep.
Okay. What happens though? I usually take 1. What am I missing out, Josh?
Now you
Bruce. What am I missing out? 3.
I usually Norwegian Christmas soda, but so 3. And this is super, super helpful. I treat every keynote like a workshop, right? So call 1, meeting 1, 30 to 40 minutes. And I'm being respectful of their time because I'm sure they have a lot of things going on as well. Call 1. I will try and listen as much as I can. I go in, I always say, I do analog just because I like this, but I always have my notebook here next to me. I go in with a blank sheet of paper and I leave with it as full as it possibly can. Because at the end of that call, like, I'm just asking, what are the themes that are coming up? What made last year such a success? A great question to ask as well. This one's really fun. If you book me as a speaker or you have booked me as a speaker for your talk, and you and I sit down 3 days after the event and have lunch, and you said, Josh, we're really, really glad we went with you as a keynote speaker for that because...
Well, I like that.
What do you say?
That.
And then it puts people like, well, actually, but give me tangibles. Don't say because people are inspired. Like, are people, I mean, yes, it could be people are inspired. The energy was quite high, but we reinforced the value. We introduced a new CEO, and you really spoke to her language on the stage. That's happened on a number of occasions. I've been a speaker before an introduction of an onboarding CEO. So something to solidify, but just really try to get it as concrete as you can as to what good looks like by you being that person on stage. Okay. So then after the call, you go back on an email and say, these are the things that I heard, this, and really like spell out what good looks like from this event. Set up a second meeting. You're only doing 2 before the event and 1 after.
Okay.
The second meeting, then, so in between then, put your slides together. Show them, put the words in. I'll change the title of my talk. I'll change the flow of my talk. I'll change the stories. I'll put in some fun research. I'll put in a funny story about their accountant, whatever it is, just to make it them.
Yeah.
And then from there, work backwards from what good looks like on to them, show them the slides, walk through the slides, and then get them to kind of go like, oh, so that way on the day, there's no surprise. There's no, we had no idea you were going to tell that story, or we thought it was going to be more like this. I know that you shouldn't hear that because I've screwed it up a number of times in my career so far over the past decade plus, where I went in assuming that this story was going to be great. And they were like, yeah, it could have been better.
What?
It's like, yeah, remove that. So years ago, like I've learned, bring them along, bring whoever's hiring you along on the journey. So that way, excuse me, when you deliver that, there's no surprises. And then you do the event. And then as soon as you can after the event, say within a week, another quick, like 10-minute check-in, excuse me, just to make sure that you did the talk well.
Yeah, and then you ask for a testimonial.
Throat dry. This is very Christmassy in my house right now.
Yeah, and then you ask for testimonial. But okay, just like I also adjust a few slides. But like if you say like your keynote, how much % do you customize before each customer? Like 30, 20? Like
very hard to say.
Stories.
Very hard to say. Yeah. I mean, there's always a lot of red threads. There are some stories because it's me, and I'm always a big fan of you should tell a story or you should give a talk that only you can deliver, right? So like your own insights, your own spice. But I would say, I mean, honestly, Max, sometimes it's 100%. I mean, I gave a talk a couple of weeks ago that was completely different to anything that I'd ever done before, because that was the right thing for them. And it took some preparation and rehearsal.
But then we can reuse it maybe, right?
2030.
You can reuse it, right? Now that's
totally.
made. Yeah, right. So it's kind of like
you're always creating more content. Yeah, more in inventory for yourself. So yeah, there's the kind of argument. There's a great book called The Referable Speaker. Really good book. And that's the whole argument for that book is have one talk. Have that talk that you could stand up for, you could take it off the shelf. And there is credibility to that because then there's consistency. People know, given that talk and it was that result, so they know that you're solid. There's also, you're going to find your way. Like some people, I know some speakers that have a keynote and have a very, very good life. They just tell that story on stages all around the world. Yeah. Totally. And that's awesome because again, you're working backwards from does it help people? And if your one story helps people, great. If you find out that iterations of your story, or actually maybe because this company has heard you speak before, and now they want to know, can you speak on this now as well?
Yeah,
and it happens. Can do it. Also, if you can't, don't recommend someone that can. It buys you a lot more credibility.
Exactly.
Internal credibility going forward as well.
Yeah, but this meetings in front, I think like, especially new speakers underestimate how important it is. Like I speak about leadership recruitment and the customer can say like, oh, we're not going to recruit anyone the next 3 years. We have a freezing stop. Then why should I talk about recruitment on stage? It would just be like, waste of time. Okay, Josh, like I don't want you to die from coughing. So I'm just going to go into like my last 2 questions here.
I think we're good. I'm
getting worried.
Save me now.
Saving it. Okay, so 2 final questions. This is like, you mentioned storytelling a couple of times. Your stories are huge. Cycling across oceans, climbing impossible things. How do you tell big stories without falling into, hey, look how awesome I am trap? Like, how do you deliver the stories in a way that it connects to real value to the audience?
Absolutely. That's a great question, man. And we can all do that because you don't have to cycle across the ocean to have a big story. We can all have these different kind of experiences in our lives. Always, you're telling the story and you're illustrating it in a way that someone can feel like they're in your shoes. It's about them, right?
Yeah.
The lessons that you learned, the way you screwed up on that thing, or the way that you were able to communicate the vision to that group of people to believe in it. You want a person to be able to go, you know what, actually, the way that happened, I can be doing that as well in this. So it's never about, and then I did, And then I did, but just wait, you're so lucky I'm here today because I also did this. I mean, and I like to believe that everyone listening to this isn't that person, you know, but you are just telling it in a way, you're telling your story in a way that is relatable. And just understand that if someone were to walk in and see a recording of your talk, would that person, and you weren't there to know it, so you weren't there to get the good feeling of them thinking that you're amazing. If they saw that video, would they then be able to go out into the world and do something with it? And if the answer is no, tell different stories, you know, unless you're hired by Netflix just to be funny, then that's another thing. But a lot of times people think that they're just Netflix episodes on legs on stage, and that's not the thing. Like, you know, you gotta give.
Yeah, you gotta give, like connect it to some value. So connect it to like some advice, right?
Totally.
Okay, finally, what advice would you give to someone listening to this podcast right now?
Go for it. Like if you're listening to this, the chances are someone along your journey has said you'd be a great speaker, or you should be. And I hope that that's why you found Max and Max's work. Speaking of you in third person, but I'm looking at you, Max. That's really weird. Also, or maybe you feel like that it could be an interesting career change. Whatever your extrinsic or intrinsic motivation is for listening to this, it's going to boil down to something. And that something is giving yourself permission to do the thing. Do the thing, right? Be a speaker. The world needs more stories. The world needs more people that are mission focused and willing to give from their experience. The world needs you. This is not an opportunity, right? This is a responsibility. Do the thing. And must say, like, you could see that, you know, you'll see my full name on here. I'm easy to reach on LinkedIn, all that other stuff. Anybody that has a question, like, or I'm very happy to take 10 minutes and have a chat. Like, anytime. Yeah. But just like reach out. I'll send a Calendly link and just rip in, like, to dive in on something that maybe someone has in their personal experience that maybe get better. But Max, you and I we're stewards, right? Like we all are. It's our responsibility to help people get better at this, because damn it, the world needs more people confident telling more stories.
And spot on. Like, I've been working with some incredible speakers about sustainability, resilience, great fulfillment workplace. And the more speakers who get out there and improve the day-to-day at work and improve a lot of things, it's just, it's necessary. I think, like, it's hard work. It's building a business. You have a product that you need to sell it.
Totally.
But getting to a level to like 1K or 2K is not that hard compared to other businesses. You just need to good talk. And as you said, get out there, do some free events, build some credibility, and people start to tell. Referrals will start to come in. Wow, absolutely. Josh, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for coming. This has been so fun. Thank you, man. This has been amazing. So many good advice.
Max, I'll say this knowing that it's recorded. I always have time for you, brother. There, it's on record.
You too, man. Anytime. Now it's recorded. By Norwegian law, it's a verbal agreement is binding by law. So you can call me 24/7. You can call me 24/7, and I have to take the phone.
I love it. Cool.
Hey, I hope you liked this episode. If you are a speaker and you already have paid gigs, but you want more, bigger stages and more consistency in the amount of bookings, we work one-on-one with speakers to help them get more gigs and increase their sales. Check out Become a Speaker NO in the link below. If you're just starting out, or you have had a few gigs and you want to really become a successful public speaker, check out our 8-week bootcamp. Here we help speakers create their speaker reel, website, positioning, beautiful presentation with amazing slides, storyline, and also land that first big paid speaking gig. Check out the 8-week program below. And I'm always excited to work with passionate speakers who have a very interesting story and valuable advice to share.